Hello and welcome everyone to our Mayan calendar workshop presented by Traverse Journeys. I am here with Michelle hosting today. I'm Andrea Mahan. I'm the administrative coordinator at Traverse. And Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, hola. I'm Michelle, and I work with Traverse as the retreat leader for the Guatemala Wellness Retreat.
Thank you. And I want to just tell you a little bit about Traverse Journeys before we dive into the workshop. Don't worry, it'll be quick. Traverse Journeys is a tour operator. We run different international trips in about 25 different countries, and we have a focus on people, planet, and purpose. People to us means that we're immersing ourselves, the travelers, with the people in the local economy. And that just means like we're keeping the money into the local economy, paying locals fair wage, having interactions and conversations with them, and all of that impacts our trips. We hope that you get a transformative experience with the people that you interact with, and you can kind of immerse yourself into the local culture. Planet is about minimizing our carbon footprint, leaving no trace, minimizing the use of plastics and waste production. And those are the types of things we look for when we plan a trip to a location. And purpose is about giving things meaning. We pair with a local community partner for every trip, and we like to give back to those locals in a nonprofit form. Those community partners are all nonprofits, and we donate a small portion of our sales to the nonprofit. We meet with them and learn a little bit about what they're doing to help sustain the economy in that country. So I'll give it away to you, Michelle, to talk about the sacred Mayan calendar.
Thank you. So, yeah, the sacred Mayan calendar is an ancient system by the Mayan civilization, the Mayan people, that is still really relevant to this day. And so I live in Guatemala and I've been here for over 15 years. I'm from Austin, Texas, but I've really connected with these teachings and this wisdom, primarily through interpreting Mayan fire ceremonies and doing Mayan readings, personal Mayan readings for people one-on-one. So I'm really grateful to all my teachers of the Mayan calendar and grateful to you for coming to this workshop. So yeah, it's basically like a roadmap that can help us align with the energies of our life. Because the day that we were born, like every day in the Gregorian calendar that we use, it correlates to a day in the sacred Mayan calendar. And the day that we were born, there was a day sign and a number on that day. And so it's thought that we carry that day sign and number with us throughout our life. And that can tell us a lot about ourselves and our gifts and challenges and purpose and things like that. So when we really follow the calendar and start to bring these energies into our day to day, um, we can open up to synchronicity and the sort of the magic of life, the simple practices of gratitude and presence really help us connect with this magic. And deeper self-realization, self-knowledge as well. Um, so just as a 101, like a very brief explanation of what it is, um, the system has 20 Nawales. The calendar has 20 different energies. It's kind of analogous to Western astrology, right? Where there's 12 zodiac signs. So in this case, there's 20. And there's also numbers, 13 numbers from 1 to 13. So each uh there's and these are combined, right, in a certain order that repeats over and over. So
I think you have frozen, Michelle.
um
You
so yeah.
froze for a second for me, and I don't know if it
Oh,
was the case for everyone else.
uh-oh. I'm in Guatemala, so my internet's, I have Starlink, but sometimes it's a little spotty. Can you hear me now?
Yep. And the last thing I heard you say was that this cycle repeats over and over again.
Yes, it's like the Maya view time as a spiral, as a cycle versus linear, like we see it in the West, typically. And so it's something, this 9 months sacred calendar spirals, and if we're following the energies, we can grow and evolve as we go through time. You can move it to the next. Thank you. So I hope everybody had a chance to look up their day sign because in a moment we're gonna talk about them, talk about your specific energies. So yeah, everyone is born, all of us are born with skills and abilities and talents, right? Gifts that we can cultivate. And our knowing our day sign is a way of either it usually resonates a lot with people, but it could be something you want to work toward or something you're already doing in your life. And the sign, so yeah, like I said before, the sign and the number from your birthday uh, are what tell us your day sign. The next Okay, so the next two slides are going into detail about the Nawales, the 20 energies. But before we do that, I think it would be cool to find out everybody's Nawal in the group. Um, yeah, I got Andrea's already, and I know my own. Um, and if you didn't have a chance to look it up, we can look it up right now, or you could look it up on a website and find out real quick. Does anyone want to volunteer to unmute and share with us your name and your Nawal?
And I put the link in the chat, so if anyone needs it, it'll be there and handy.
Or you can also, if you don't want to speak, you can also write your Nawal and number in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or we can just go through all the Nawales and that's fine too.
I mean, I can share what mine is.
Okay.
I looked mine up, and my day sign is the cane, like a walking stick kind of cane.
Mhm.
And my number is 9, and it also says galactic tone. That's what I'm looking at, right?
The number, yeah. I mean, there's many different interpretations of this ancient Mayan wisdom, and some of them are more New Age, and some of them are more indigenous. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of lenses through which you can look at this information online, right? And then of course there's the translations into English. But Cain happens to be on the next slide, and it's called Ach. You want to switch it to the next slide? We can go out of order, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh, and
Okay,
someone wrote in the chat her day
there's a
sign is
dog. Okay, great. Well, we'll talk about the dog in a moment. And Joy, do you know your number too?
it's 10.
10? 10?
Yeah.
See, okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Okay.
Okay. So, ah, for Andrea, that's the third one down here. So it represents community leadership. It's like the symbol is the cornstalk, also the cane and the bamboo. And the home is a really important home and family are important concepts for your sign. And the armadillo is the spirit animal. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
I mean, this is just such a brief introduction, right? But it's also the spinal column. It has to do with, it's a masculine energy of a male community leader. Or, obviously women can have the sign like you do. And so you're a female, but you have a strong masculine, logical, practical side, right?
Mhm.
Perhaps. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of a brief intro to your sign, and then later we'll talk about the numbers and how that relates.
Okay.
So would you go back, sorry, to the slide, the first
Joyce is,
Nobel?
Joyce is on this one. The dog, I
Yeah,
see it.
the dog is the last one here, Joy. Um, and the word in the Mayan language, so all these words are in the Mayan language. And I learned from the Mayan people here at Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. And so they have these spellings that I'm using and these terms, but there are also Mayan people, Mayan wisdom keepers in Mexico, in the Yucatan and Chiapas and stuff, and they use different terminology and different spellings. So we're working with the Guatemalan terms. So tsi is how you pronounce dog, tsi, and it is literally it means dog, like the dog. That's just how you say dog in the Mayan language. And when I refer to the Mayan language, I want to point out that there are actually 22 Mayan languages or Mayan dialects in Guatemala. And many of them are in the same families, but there are different families of the Mayan language. So specifically, I'm working with Sutujil Maya, um, which is where I live at Lake Atitlan. And so Tsi is dog. The spirit animal is the dog, therefore, or the wolf or the coyote. And the dog represents unconditional love and loyalty, right? Because they're the most loving and loyal pets that we know. And dog also represents truth and justice and law and order, um, and our word, our speech. And so all the Nawales represent so many different things. Um, but these are the primary concepts that are connected to your sign. Um, so I guess no one else is sharing. Does anyone else want to share their Nawal or number? Um, well, I can tell you that today is Bats. Yesterday was at C, 9C. So well, let's just start at the beginning. So Emosh is the first sign in this cycle. And really, because it's a cycle, it doesn't actually have a beginning or an end. But many teachers teach that Emosh is the first sign. And that's because it is this sort of it's water. It's the energy of water, and it represents collective consciousness and dreams. The main spirit animal is the crocodile, but all the sea animals can be emotion, like dolphin, fish, whales. Um, so it's this idea, it's this sort of dreamy preconception state. It's like the primordial swamp is emotion. So that's why it's the first sign, I guess. And all of the Nawales, like I'm talking primarily about their bright side, their gifts, but there of course are shadow sides and challenges to each one. And so for Emosh, it would be like insanity, um, going a little mad or a little crazy. So Emosh can be very like a personality can be very weird, eccentric looking or seeming. Like that person's odd, right? And that's just kind of who they are. It's very creative. And so the shadow is madness or insanity because if the energy is not grounded, balanced, it can go like lose touch with reality for a little while. Yeah. So the next one is called Eek. And Eek is the energy of the wind. It is change and imagination and wisdom. And it's the hummingbird is the spirit animal. So this year, 2025, is the year of the hummingbird because it's 13 eek in the whole year from February to next February. So there's this other calendar, this agricultural Mayan calendar that's a 365-day one that we use to determine the year bearer each year for the Mayan New Year. So yeah, this year's 13 eek. So it's a big year as we're, I think, all feeling already, um, globally. And 13 is the highest number. So it's very like sort of connected with spirit and the ancestors. And then Eek is wind. So it could be a year, it is a year of a lot of change and even unexpected changes, but also a lot of beauty and creativity and wisdom. Um, and if anyone has questions or comments, feel free to say them at any moment. Um,
Could I ask you a question?
yeah.
When they determine the year, do these go in order, like next year is bat and last year was crocodile, or do they determine it a different way? Oh, you've frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, you're back. Yay.
Okay. Can you say your question again? I only heard part of it.
Oh, I was asking how do they do the year? Do they go in order? Like crocodile was last year and bat will be
Oh,
next.
great question. Yeah, there's four. The of the 20, four of them are year bearers. Only
Oh,
four.
okay.
Yeah. So, and there's 13 numbers with the years. So, there's 52 year combinations. So the year that you were born was a year, right? And then when you turn 52, that will be the same year in the Mayan system.
Hmm.
Yeah, so 52, like everything is on math. Everything is based on math and geometry here. So it's like 13's very key. And so 52 times 4 times 13 is 52. And when you reach age 52, you're thought to be a respected elder. Um, yeah, so the third one is Akabal. Akabal is the energy of the light, but specifically the night turning into the day, and vice versa. So sunrise and sunset are related to Akabal. It's also about conception of babies, but conception of ideas as well, bringing new ideas into the light. And so the bat is the animal associated with Akabal because comes out at dawn and dusk, right? And the hands are also connected to Akabal. Our hands are thought to carry our light. And so it's important for us to work with our hands through writing, drawing, painting, sculpture, gardening, massage, or whatever method. But yeah, this is always mentioned in the Akabal part of the fire ceremony. Um, Next we have Kat. So Kat is the net, also the network. So it's literally about the net, like the harvest, the collection of vegetables, or fish or whatever, and abundance, and also the network, like the internet, the social network, the connections between us all, like the interconnectedness. And the animal is the spider, of course, because of its web. Um, so the shadow side of cat can be burdens, because once we have a big harvest, it's like an abundance, and that's good, but then it's a burden to carry it. And so, yeah, just something to recognize about that energy. But kat also relates to fire, the element of fire and passion. So it's about self-love and how we love each other and are passionate, but need to be careful because that love is a fire, and so it can burn. So we have to be careful how we give it. Um, and then the fifth one here is Khan. Now, Khan is the serpent energy or the snake. So it represents life force, like Kundalini, right? This coiled energy that we work with in the yoga practice. And so it's really potent, it's really powerful energy, intense. And it's also sexual energy, and it relates to wisdom and wisdom teachers. Um, so I work primarily with this Tata Tomas is his name, and he's a Mayan spiritual guide from San Juan, La Laguna, here at Lake Atitlan. And he often also talks about Kan being compassion. And encouraging us to look up at the sky every morning, at the blue of the sky, and say yes to life and say thank you to life, which is a beautiful practice, so simple, but something we rarely do. Um, and then Kame is next, and Kame is the energy of death and transformation and rebirth. So for us, as Americans, as people from the United States, I'm assuming most people here are from the US. If you're not, sorry, but or actually, congratulations. No, in the United States and Western culture, there's a lot of fear around death, right? There tends to be fear and taboo and avoidance as a society, right? And the Mayan culture is totally opposite in the paradigm, in the way that they view death. They see it as very natural, even something to be celebrated, and they do not stop communicating with people once they pass. Like there's a continued conversation or continued connection with those people, those loved ones who have passed on to the other side of the veil. So this is the energy of Kame. So it's very shamanic. It's very connected to the ancestors. And it's got kind of a Day of the Dead type of feel. And the owl is the animal. Oh, I see a question. Okay. Good question. So the day sign is your birthday. It's your Mayan day. It's your Nawal. The Trisena is something a little more advanced, but I can talk to you about it because you'll get it. So a Trisena is a 13-day period within the 260-day sacred Mayan calendar. So whenever there's a one, the one day when the Nawal of that day of one is set to carry for those 13 days of the Trisena. So for example, I'm Kirch, which is the energy we're about to talk about, the next one on the list. I'm 6 Kirch, but counting back 6 days, it was one Ik. So my Trisena is Ik. So that's kind of like a broad energy that also affects me. The hummingbird, the wind, the change, but it's not as like specific. It's not as personal as your day sign. And your year is also something that's valid. Your year bearer, like we were talking about 13 Eek being this year. Everyone was born with a certain year bearer in a certain number of the year. So that's another factor in your personality according to the Mayan cosmovision. Um, I hope that was helpful. And so Kirch is the second year bearer that we're running into here of the four. Ik was the first one, and Kirch is another one. Kirch is the energy of freedom. The animal is the deer or the horse. But the Mayan teach that it's better to be a deer than a horse because the horse is domesticated and the deer is free. So this is the energy of liberation. It's also very connected to the wilderness and being in our physical bodies, in our territory where we live, the land where we live, as well as spiritual leadership, like being a yoga teacher or a meditation leader or some kind of a spiritual leader in some way. Yeah, the four legs of the deer are said to represent the four elements and the four directions. And so it's a very earthy, natural energy. Next we have Anil. So the Q is silent here. It's pronounced Anil. And this is the energy of the stars and the seeds, both. So it's about teaching and learning. It's about the garden as well. It's about blossoming and maturing and harvest. It's a very nice energy. It's like there's a golden light, or it's related to the color yellow as well. The word anil means yellowing, as in maturing, like the way that things turn yellow when they ripen, like the corn. Um, and the rabbit is a spirit animal here, because it also represents abundance, and fertility. Um, yes. Next we have Toch, which is the energy of um, silence. That's one thing I didn't list on this slide, but it's silence. It's about listening. It's connected very much to two elements, water and fire. And it's about gratitude, making offerings and making payments, paying off debt, making donations, karmic debt. So it really connects like to the sacred fire, the sacred Mayan fire, in which to which we offer many things in the ceremony, like incense, candles, chocolates, seeds, different things like that for the different Nawales. Um, and then we talked about Tsi because that was Maya's day sign she shared. And
It was Joyce.
oh, sorry, Joy. Yeah, that was her day sign. And that was yesterday. It was 9C yesterday. So it was the day of love and loyalty and justice and truth and our word. Um, and yeah, the number 9, I'll give you a preview because Andrea shared that that's her number. It's the divine feminine, and it represents nature and the 9 moons, the 9 months of gestation. Yeah. All right, we're ready for the next list of the rest of the Nawales. Um, so we have bots. Today is bots, 10 bots. So bots is really a lovely energy. It's about laughter, like humor, and it's about time. It's the energy of the thread of time and how we connect the past, present, and future and create patterns and designs in our lives. Um, and it's the creative genius, bots. So the animal is the monkey, which reminds us to be silly, to joke around, to be lighthearted. And Tata Tomas will often talk about how we should give gratitude to our years and not worry about our age in with bots, because it's this lighthearted view of time. And again, like with death, it's a very cool, different paradigm from the Western society, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm too old. I don't want to get old. In this Mayan culture and the Mayan vision, it's cool to get old. It's okay. It's like something to be proud of, something where you gain respect and you gain wisdom and experience. And there is a lot of dignity and respect for the elders in their culture. Next, we have E. So it's the letter E, but in Spanish it's pronounced E. And this is the road, the path. So it's literal and figurative, right? So it's actual travel, actual journeys and movement, as well as the inner journey, the spiritual path, the inner teachings that we practice. Um, and the animal's the wildcat. So an A personality, A is also a year bearer. It's the third year bearer on the list. And um, it's the energy of the feet as well. So usually they will bless our feet, like do a clearing on everybody's feet in a fire ceremony, for the energy of A, to ask for protection on our path and for guidance from the ancestors. Ach, we discussed, right? Because that's Andrea's day sign. And just to touch on that briefly, it's in addition to what's listed there and what I mentioned, it's about the balance between flexibility and strength. Because the cornstalk, right, and the bamboo are strong, they're rigid, but they're also hollow, so they're flexible. So it's just like that's one of the um, things to work with for Ach energy. And then we have Ish. The Nawal Ish is jaguar. I've listed jaguar twice there because the jaguar is very, very connected to Ish. Some of the spirit animals are not as, important, but in this case, the jaguar is very key to Ish. And so this is a nocturnal feline energy, sort of a fierce mother. And Ish is also Mother Nature, right? Mother Earth. It relates to the earth magic, meaning um, how the day turns into night every day and how the 4 seasons change every year. Just like magic, without any planning or any human intervention. Um, and sacred altars are also Ish energy, especially outdoor sacred spaces like Tikal here in Guatemala, these ancient pyramids of the Maya or the Egyptian pyramids all over the world, all the sacred sites. Um, and then we move into Tikin. Tikin is the energy of the birds. Tikin means bird. And the bird specifically that's associated with Tikin is the eagle. The eagle represents vision, sharp, eagle eye, but also long-term vision, being able to see into the future or make plans and goals that are long-term. The birds are also said to be the teachers of joy and bliss. So they remind us to be happy, to sing, and to joke around because they're always singing and chirping, right? And lastly, Sakine relates to prosperity and business, good fortune in business. The shadow side, one challenge of Sakine is distraction. It's like the birds sometimes get distracted by a shiny thing and they get off of their path. So that can be a challenge for to keen energy. Next, we have Akmak, peace, the energy of peace, forgiveness, acceptance. It also relates to ancestral wisdom. It's kind of an old soul energy. And Akmak also is about the sweetness of life and celebrating the simplicity of life. Because it's like we all make mistakes, we're human, and we all have to forgive and accept ourselves and celebrate anyway. And so the bee, the honeybee, is the spirit animal for Akmak. Noch, next, is the last of the 4 year bearers. And the Nawal Noch is the energy of the mind. It is our intellect, our knowledge, how we make our decisions and analyze things using our brain. No, like even to this day, the Mayan elders, the council in the community will meet on Noh days to make decisions for the community. That's how important it is as an intellectual problem-solving energy. And the woodpecker is its spirit animal. Finally, Noh is related to the earth, especially earthquakes. And the last three here, we have Tihash. Tihash is about truth, letting go, healing, and health. It's really highly related to the obsidian blade. And so this is a cutting energy that, it's a double-edged sword because it could be a tool of healing for surgery for the ancient Maya, or it could be a weapon for pain, for harm, right? And so it's like Tihash is a reminder for each of us to think about how we are using our words, how we speak and how we act. Is it in a healing way or in a harmful way? And ultimately it's about, yeah, cutting away what no longer serves or what is no longer needed to get to truth and to get to health and wellness. The quetzal bird is the animal. The quetzal, you may not know about this bird. I never heard of it before I moved to Guatemala. It is a jungle bird. It's the national bird of Guatemala, and it's really beautiful with a long red and green tail. And it lives in the, actually not the jungle, it lives in the cloud forest. Um, okay, the next one is kawok. Kawok is the rain. So kawok is another very feminine, a feminine energy. It's like the female healer, the midwife. And the animal is the turtle. So the turtle reminds us of patience and slowing down, not rushing, which I think is a good teaching for all of us, pretty much in the modern digital era, right? There's a lot of rush or speediness. And so Kawok is that slow, it's a grandmotherly energy of the grandmother's hug, but also the tough love, this fierce feminine energy. And with midwives, midwifery, it's about literal babies being born, but also midwifing ideas, helping people bring ideas and projects into the world. And finally, last but not least, we have Akpu. Akpu is the energy of the human being. It doesn't have really a spirit animal because it's the human being. And it relates to the divinity within each of us as humans and the sacredness of all life. Um, it's another golden energy of the sun in the sky, and it really relates to the hero's journey, like that we're all on. Each of us are on our own hero's journey on our path. Um, so the shadow of Akpu can be ego, being egotistical. All right. So those are the 20 Nawales. And then we have the 13 numbers. So if anyone were to ask you your Nawal, you can just say the word or the dog or whatever, like that's the key, is the energies that we just discussed. But if you know your number, that's like an extra bonus, just to give you some more, the flavor of your specific Nawal. So yeah, just briefly, number one is obviously the beginning, the first one. It's like a seed, and it represents union, creation, and oneness. So a lot of times people who are born with a one are very good at starting things. They have a lot of ideas, a lot of initiatives, but they're not always good at finishing them. So they may need to collaborate with someone else who's a good finisher. Number two, then going from the one to the two is about polarity, duality, yes or no decisions, and relationship between us and anything else. Um, yeah, so the two energy really seeks to come back into oneness or to see the double-sided coin, or as the Mayans say, the totality. Tata Tomas always talks about there's no good or bad. It's all part of one totality. Life and death, one totality. But often we don't see that. We see them as separate. So the challenge or the intention is to integrate rather than separate these dualities. Number three is about rhythm, meditation, and inner movement. It's a create.
I think you froze again, Michelle.
The Mayan vision we as humans.
Michelle,
Three.
when you started talking about number three, you froze.
Oh no, am I back?
Yes, you are.
Okay, sorry. Um, so the three is about inner movement. It's about meditation and looking within and rhythm, creativity as well. So a three would be an energy that wants to stay home, that wants to be alone, even in solitude. Um, and it's the triangle as the shape, right? Um, the four then is about stability. It's the square. And so it's very grounded, very earthy, practical, getting it done. And the five is represents the five fingers of one hand, the fist. So five is about work, effort, dedication, and focus. And many times the five energy wants to do it alone, doesn't want to help. It's like, I can handle this. So that's sometimes okay, right? But maybe if you're a five and you never want to ask for help, it's a good practice for you to ask for help and support sometimes. Um, then number six is ultimate stability. It's like the four corners or the four sides of the square, plus the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth. So it's stable, yet also connected above and below. And it also, six relates to family and to detail management, like an energy that's really great with dates and, agendas, logistics, details. Then we move into the number seven. So at this point, it's helpful, or I can share this metaphor of for the numbers, which is the pyramid, right? So the idea is that going from the one, we're climbing up the stairs of the pyramid to the seven. Seven is at the top. Then climbing down is eight, going to 13 at the bottom. So seven is at the top of the pyramid. It represents death and endings, but also transcendence and choices and perspective, because we're at the top of the pyramid, so we can see all of our choices, all of our options, and have a perspective really from a higher place. Then eight is the number of wholeness, which I always remember easily because it is the um I don't know what's going on. There's writing on the page. That's weird. Um, Eight is it's the figure eight, right? Like the infinity sign. And so it is wholeness and eternity. And it also has a slightly masculine edge, or it's about the divine masculine, let's say. Thanks, Andrea. Um, as I mentioned, number nine is also about the divine feminine. And it is also, it's sort of in the center, like kind of six through nine, six through 10 are sort of central numbers in this system. So they're very solid, very stable and whole. 10 then is the two hands, the 10 fingers coming together. So it's about teamwork, community, also manifestation of our thoughts, of our ideas, and into reality. And it also relates to this, the hand shaking. So the agreements that we make, the contracts at the community level, especially. And then the last three numbers are very connected to spirit and the ancestors, each one more and more so. So the 11 is highly creative and inspired, intuitive, but it goes like psh, in all directions. So it's kind of like very spontaneous, not linear. It's like random or going in many, many directions at once, even. So an 11 person might be a little hyper, a little, ADHD-ish, but creative and fun. And just like you can't make plans because they're so spontaneous. Um, 12 then is the highest even number. So it represents completion. And it's also seen as a number connected to community, like the 10, as well as reflection on your life's experiences and the lessons, the key lessons you've learned so far in your life journey. So, yeah, it's about reflecting on that and looking back at what the choices and the turning points that brought you to where you are today. And lastly, we have 13. 13 is very connected to spirit and the ancestors. I've found that people who have 13 as their main energy are often psychic or channels or could develop that easily if they're not already. It's like they have this, they're like an antenna. And this is true of also the 11 and also other numbers. It's not only 13, but it's like really connected with 13, this antenna, this highly sensitive being that is picking up on energies and on even messages from the other side of the veil. Oh, thank you. I see Maya's thing. She's a rabbit. So that's Anil for Anil. And it sounds like it resonates with you. Um, yeah, self-regulate and ground your frenetic life force. Yeah, I mean, being a four, you have this earthy nature. And so if you feel frenetic, you can work with the earth element and with the garden specifically, to ground yourself and get more balanced and feel more harmony, I would say. Um, yeah, I think there's just a couple more slides. Or yeah, this might be the last one. Or no, there's a few more about traverse. Yes. So aligning with the energy of each day is key, right? And I want to mention like I've been practicing and studying this stuff for about a decade, and it's gotten deeper in the last couple of years. But it's like, just like with yoga, just like with meditation or any practice or any field, you start out where you start out, you kind of like try it out, and then maybe you're interested to go deeper over time. So, if so, by living with the sacred mind calendar on a daily basis and knowing the energy of the day, we can tune in with the elements and the rhythms of nature. Um, some ideas, some suggestions are to light a candle and meditate on the Nawal of the day, ideally in the morning, right? Before the action of the day, if you have time and energy for that. And setting a daily intention or affirmation or journaling about the energy of the day at any time, right? I mean, the intention obviously would be good in the morning, but journaling could happen in the evening or afternoon whenever you have time, and just writing about your day, your experiences, and if it resonates with the energy of the Mayan calendar. And lastly, attending a Mayan fire ceremony, which I know is not really a thing in the US, but it is in Guatemala. And this is a segue into the fact that we are having a Guatemala retreat this coming August into early September, end of August starts. Yeah. So I'm going to be leading this lovely retreat here at Lake Atitlan, and would love to have you join.
Thank you, Michelle. That was so informative, and now I want to know more about my Nawali.
Yay.
I'm going to be doing a little deep dive, maybe. But like she
Mm.
said, our trip is coming up in August with Michelle as our beautiful retreat leader, and she will be doing daily yoga. And I think you had an opportunity to go deeper into Nirwali at the retreat, right, Michelle?
Yes, there's readings available with me, one-on-one readings where we go into your Mayan cross, which involves your central energy, but also four other Nawals around you that relate to your past and your future and your right and left-hand side, your feminine and masculine energies that you carry. Hmm.
Okay, cool. So if you want to join our trip, you can register on our page. I'll also send some information in an email with a recording from today. You'll have that all at your fingertips. And then we have a few more events coming up. So later on today at 6:15 Eastern Time, we're going to have an online Pilates class with another retreat leader, Lee. And she's doing two retreats with us this year, one in France and one in Mexico, where she's a Pilates instructor and leading Pilates classes every day. And we have a event on April 23rd for our Machu Picchu trip. You can register for those on Eventbrite, and you can find links on our Traverse Journeys trip pages for those as well. And if anyone has any other questions for Michelle before we wrap up today, you can feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat for us. I thought we had some really nice questions throughout the presentation. And Michelle, if anyone wants to learn more about Nawales, how would they go about doing that?
Great question. I can suggest my teacher's website and my teacher, one of my other teachers besides Tata Thomas is a man named Mark, and he's from England, but he has been studying this stuff for 25 years and he lives here at Lake Atitlan. So he has a site called The Four Pillars. If you Google The Four Pillars, you'll find it. And he writes a daily blog about the energy of the day each day. My site is yogafreedom.life, and I don't write a daily blog, but I do have a blog, and there's a lot of information about the Tresenas, the 13-day periods, and general information about the Mayan calendar on there. And I just want to thank you, Andrea. And I just wanted to also, I'm going to type it in here, share with you the word for thank you in the Mayan language. And this, as far as I know, this word does, it's in all the Mayan languages. This is a common one. It's pronounced Matiosh. Matiosh means thank you from the heart. So throughout the ceremony, the fire ceremony, we're always saying Matiosh to all the energies and Matiosh to so many things. So it's about gratitude. So I say Matiosh to you all for joining and listening to this workshop.
Thank you. Oh, and
Yeah.
someone wrote something in the comments. Maya's saying thank you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Maya's a beautiful name. And so she's connecting with her Maya, her name Maya, and the introduction to this cosmovision and calendar.
Oh,
Beautiful.
nice. Beautiful. And thank you, Joy.
Matiosh.
Joy commented back the Mayan word.
Very nice.
Well, thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good day.
Okay, thanks so much.